So I recently noticed something about you know how the world works, how families work. This trend recently of when it comes to cleaning the house, women get mad at men for not cleaning the house. Men get mad at their wives for not cleaning the house. And I was just thinking about my own childhood. Like my mom would say things and I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so my mom would say things like clean your room so I don't have to, and all I would hear was like, if I don't clean my room, my mom's going to clean it anyway. My dad would just say clean your room, and until it's clean, don't come out. That meant I cleaned my room myself. And you might think, well, that's fucked up, but I was a kid. Like, you're supposed to listen to your elders, and when they say words, you interpret them however you interpret them. But there's also the fact that the house was never really able to get dirty because even though I had two younger brothers, once we all got old enough to go outside and play, we'd wake up at like 7 in the morning, eat a bowl of cereal, put our bowl, rinse out our bowls, put them in the sink, and then we wouldn't be back till lunch. We'd just run out the door with like a glove and a bat and a ball or a basketball or our skateboards and go and bother our friends who were up and be like, hey, let's go do this. Like, go to the school so we could play basketball in the playground or soccer or play bunt ball, which was a game we created. It's baseball, but you weren't allowed to swing because the baseball was a tennis ball, so you had to bunt it. And because it's a tennis ball and made of rubber, it would fly pretty far. And we'd play, and instead of having to catch the ball, you could peg somebody with it if they weren't standing on a base. So if somebody was running from like second to third, I could take the tennis ball and hit him with it, and he'd be out. Instead, these are the games that we used to make. We also made a game. Okay, I'm going to tell you two games. One game was gutter ball, and we'd take a soccer ball, and one kid would stand on one side of the road, and another kid would stand on the other side of the road, and you'd throw the soccer ball, and if you hit the gutter perfectly right, the ball would bounce directly up, and that was a point. And you'd play to 11. And then there was also a yard frisbee. Uh, our neighbor, they put up like a bush, like line in between our yards, and then they moved out, so the property was like vacant. So me and my brothers would go out there and we'd play yard frisbee. So the bush line was like the net that you couldn't cross that line, and each yard was like a volleyball court. Each yard was that square, and we would turn on the sprinklers in both of them. And the point of the game was to get to throw the frisbee in a way where it landed on the ground. If it hit the ground on the other team's side, you got a point. If it hit the ground on your side, if you caught it, no point. And then and then we'd play to like 15 for that. Like, we used to make up games. We never were inside. Like, if you look at me now, 'cause I'm half Danish and half Armenian. If you look at me now, because I refuse to go outside because I'm 44 years old and I'm a cripple, I'm handicapped. I'm pale as fuck. But back in those days, I was like dirty brown, like Arabic brown because the Armenian blood. And I was always out in the sun. So, like, I didn't have a suntan. I just changed colors. Now I'll get a suntan. I'm so pale now. I'd have to spend like 5 or 6 years just sitting in a pool in the middle of the sun to be able to get that my skin to that condition again. Also, I'm 44, not 3 through 18. So my skin isn't as resilient as it used to be. But the point is, it was much easier for parents to keep the house clean when their kids were gone like all day. And then by the time the kids came home, it was dinner. And you get dinner, you get to watch TV for a little bit, maybe play with your toys while TV is being watched. Taking a bath and a shower is in there. And me having two younger brothers, like we had to take turns. There was three of us that had to cycle through there. So it was one at a time. My mom would try to be like, everybody in the tub. And like, no, I was the oldest. I'm the oldest. I was like, nah, nah, I'll wait. I'll take a shower. Thank you. Everybody else can get in the tub. When I was younger, that worked before my youngest brother was born. So when there was only two of us and I was young, it was like, we're all in the tub together playing with Squeaky Pot. But once my youngest brother was born and there was three of us, it was like, nope, that's for babies. Babies do that. I'm not a baby anymore. I'm the oldest. And the oldest, all of us have the I'm the oldest complex. Brothers, sisters, like if whether male or female, we have the I'm the oldest complex. I get everything first. Like if you're the oldest and you're a sister and then you have a younger brother and a younger sister, you're going to fight for your own room. Like I don't care if my brother and sister have to share a room. Like they can't share a room. Your sister has to move into the room with you. Nope. You better get a bigger house. But that's how kids think. Because I can, even though I'm an adult, I could still remember being a kid. My mind hasn't gone yet. Kids should be curious, hyperactive, adventurous, and kind of trusted, especially if you're a good parent. You teach them run away from strangers, don't go too far away from that, like my mom. Don't go too far away from the house. If you can't hear my voice, you're too far away. So if I come outside and scream for you, you better run back. As I got older, it was when the street lights come on, come home, which sucked during the winter because they would come on at like I'd be walking home from baseball practice because I had winter league, or I'd be walking home from football practice because I played football, or I'd be walking home from basketball practice because I sucked at basketball and I shouldn't have been on the team in any way whatsoever. I had no coordination when it came to that shit. I could shoot a three pretty good. That was about it. It would be dark outside on my way home. The lights would be coming on. I'd be like, oh shit, should I run? No, I'm too tired. I'll walk. And I'd still get in trouble. You weren't home by the time the lights came on. I was like, Mom, by the time the lights came on, I just got out of practice. I walked home. I immediately came home. Well, your dinner's cold, you know, but that was just part of playing sports. And I have some very fond memories of being a child in my childhood. Like I got to experience a childhood like a lot of my friends didn't get to. Well, not a lot, but a few of my friends. Most of my friends grew up in the same neighborhood with me, but I don't talk to them anymore. The ones I still hang out with didn't grow up that way. They kind of had, you know, lonely childhoods in apartments and ghettos and violence everywhere. It's kind of fucked up. But so I can't identify with them that way. But my childhood was pretty decent. My parents did the best they could. My mom went crazy and she got multiple sclerosis and just started getting injuries. Like I believe my mom has Munchausen syndrome because like my little brothers used to get sick all the time, and occasionally I'd get sick. Occasionally my dad would get sick, but he'd still have to go to work. Shit would just happen around the house. Like one time, I remember I was coming home from I think first grade because this is back in the day when like I used like in kindergarten I used to walk to school. I didn't ride the bus. I lived like 3 blocks, 5 blocks away from the school, so I just walked to school. I'd run into my friends on my way there that were also in kindergarten. Yeah, they. This is back when kids had a little bit more autonomy around the neighborhood. And don't get me wrong, there were still fucking weirdos and shit running around. We were just all taught if a fucking weirdo pulls up, tries to talk to you, start screaming and run. And that's what we usually did. Kids aren't taught that now. Like kids are playing. Like little girls go out there and play, and they scream bloody murder. And I just want people that allow their little girls to scream like that while they're playing and having fun to go to jail because it's at some point something bad might happen to that little girl and she's going to scream like that and nobody's going to react. It's going to be like the boy who cried wolf. It's going to be like every car alarm ever since 1989 where nobody pays attention to it anymore and just starts yelling, turn that fucking thing off. So yeah, anybody that allows their little girls to run around screaming bloody murder on a playground should go to jail. Straight up. I'm just saying. You need to fucking teach your children better. You need to teach them stranger danger and all of that and the difference about how they use their fucking vocalization. Because there shouldn't be like 12 little girls sliding down a slide screaming like they just got stabbed by a guy or a guy's trying to throw them in the back of his van. Because nobody's going to pay attention when that finally does happen. And then, oh, this is my favorite part about the idiocracy of the world we live in now and how dumb it is. I started with something mellow, but now I'm going down the iceberg. I'm starting to get to some things. Um, all these college students proving themselves to be anti-Semites, who for the past 8 years have been online calling everybody sexist, homophobic, transphobic, misogynist, like instead of having an argument, they just call people names to shut down the argument and then try to cancel them or blow them up or dox them because they disagree with what the stupid child is saying. I'm in college. I know better. No, you don't. You don't know jack shit. You're getting brainwashed. But I find it hilarious that now all these kids are proving themselves to be anti Semites and they don't get it. Like there are people like there's one dude I saw on YouTube today was going around going, "Hey, will you sign this for the liberation of Palestine and given to Hamas?" Well, here's the thing: Hamas has been in charge of Palestine since 2005 when they were elected, or not Palestine, the Gaza Strip, when they were elected by the people of the Gaza Strip. The people elected them. Remember when everybody voted for Trump and then all of a sudden got mad because shit started going? And well, you voted for who you voted for. You voted for him, and how everything's going now with Biden, like basically being a walking corpse, and now the Republicans are looking at the Democrats going, "Well, you voted for him. You have to deal with what you voted for." The Gaza Strip has to deal with what it voted for. There was a ceasefire between the Gaza Strip and Israel until October 6th. October 7th, that ceasefire ended, and now Israel has to do everything it can to erase Hamas, even if that means killing everybody in the Gaza Strip. And I know a lot of you be like, oh my God, how can you say that? Oh, all those people, there are innocents there. There's no such thing as an innocent in war. War is total. I don't know how many of you people that are listening to this watch football, but if you could tell me of a fucking football team that refused to cross the 50-yard line that won a game, please enlighten me because I don't think it's ever happened. It's definitely never happened in a war. When America started doing it, World War One, World War Two, America showed up and we just fucking blitzed through everything, killed everything and everyone in the way to win the war. Sorry, you're in the wrong neighborhood. We didn't drop pamphlets saying leave before we bomb this tomorrow. No, we just fucking bombed shit, blew shit up, took people out, fucking made enough difference to make people surrender. If Japan didn't surrender, there would be no Japanese people anymore. America would have went in, went house to house, kicked open every door, and just eliminated everybody as an enemy combatant, and Japan would be the 51st state of the United States of America. But then all of a sudden the Korean War happened, and we're like, oh, we got to stop at the 50-yard line. The Vietnam War happened. Oh, we got to stop at the 50-yard line. Iraq happened. Oh, we got to stop at the 50-yard line because that's still their sovereignty, and we got to give it back to them. Oh, and then Afghanistan. Oh, great. Not only do we have to stop at the 50-yard line, but everybody back home as doves now. And they're like, oh, please. Oh, I'm so soft hearted. And we've gone so far that during Vietnam, soldiers would be coming home from Vietnam, and college students would protest the soldiers coming home and call them baby killers. 50 years later, we have college students out there cheering for Palestine, for baby killers. None of them realize that they're going to be the first ones that are drafted. Women, too. Women now have to sign up for selective service. That law, you wanted equality, you got it. That law passed in 2020. So if you haven't signed up for selective service, you're going to get signed up for selective service. And I love this. Some women have found this out and they're putting out videos like, well, I can't fight for the country because I don't know who I'm going to shoot. You haven't been trained. They'll train you to do that. I take all these drugs. I think you're making it up. They'll help you deal with it. And if you do take all of those drugs and you're telling the truth, you won't be accepted anyway. But there's these girls like, I'm too fat and I can't run. You won't be fat for long because you can't get kicked out of the military until you go through like 3 or 4 cycles of boot camp. So you're going to be running a lot. You're going to lose a lot of weight. You're going to be happy about yourself. They're going to fucking drill that into you until you pass all that shit. And then also women, chances of you going to the front line are slim to none. You're going into the military to have a desk job, sit behind a radar, sit at a desk, because the men will be going into the fighting. So I won't be able to do the job. You'll be able to do the job fine. The military will make sure that you're able to do the job fine. If you're telling the truth about all of your mental ailments, they won't accept you. But if you're not, because you'll go through medical screening, you're going to get drafted, you're going to get sent into the military, and you're going to have a job behind a desk somewhere. So shut the fuck up with your crying about it because you're still going to get treated like little girls with your hairs and pig ties. I'm just a girl. I don't know. And it's funny now that war is getting presented to you, little bitches. Like 2 minutes ago, you were boss bitch. I'm going to take everything. I'm worth $100 million. I ain't dating a man unless he makes $2 million. And 2 minutes later, oh, I'm just a little girl, pigtails. I can't sleep in the mud. Oh, I can't. I'm not going to help nobody. No, bitch, you going to learn. You going to learn. So are all those little fucking cute boys and shit. They going to learn too. Y'all fucked. Everybody's going to war. Better get used to it. Better get ready for it. Y'all fucked.